I think we might be having business problems. Let's see. Good? We good. UFC Vegas 31. McGregor's ankle just snapped on Saturday. Enough with that. Everybody, if you're on this video, make sure you go to the video just prior to this, the interview I have with Dre Miley. Dre Miley. And it's a really good one. He's fought mixed martial arts for 10 years with one eye. So the interview is definitely worth checking out. Like I said, it's going to be the video right before this video on my channel. Go check it out. Opening up the main card for Vegas 31 is Gabriel Benitez versus Billy Quantillo. Benitez is 22-8. He has 10 submission wins, 8 knockout wins, 6-4 in the UFC. He's got wins over Justin James in his last fight, Jason Knight and Clay Collard early in his career. Quantillo is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, 1-0 as a pro boxer, and that fight was in 2018. He is 15-3, 3-1 in the UFC. His only loss was his last fight, and that was a decision loss to Gavin Tucker. Never been submitted in his career, only been knocked out once, and that was in 2016, 5 years ago. Quantillo's got great striking, great cardio, and black belt in jiu-jitsu, whereas Benitez, 10 out of his 22 wins are via submission. I think he relies heavily on his grappling, and he's going against a very good defensive grappler in Billy Quantillo. This one is going to be pretty easy for me. I'm going to go Billy Quantillo. I think he's... Oh, the light's on in the kitchen. I mean, somebody's in the kitchen. I think he's got better cardio. I think he's going to be able to defend himself very well on the ground. And I think if they're standing up, trading, Quantillo has a better chance of winning than Benitez. So I'm going Billy Quantillo, who is a plus 172 underdog. So pretty good money on the underdog Quantillo. Rodolfo Vieira is fighting Dustin Stoltzfus. Vieira has 17 gold medals in grappling competitions. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, 7-1 in MMA. Lost his last fight actually via submission to Anthony Hernandez. 6 out of 7 of his wins, are by submission, and he has a 100% finish rate, meaning that other win was via knockout. He's 2-1 in the UFC. He's got submission wins over Oscar Pihota and Sarabak Safarov. Dustin Stoltzfus has a 2-inch height and a 2-inch reach advantage over Rodolfo Vieira. He is 0-1 in the UFC with decision loss to Kyle Dawkins in his debut. He is 13-2, 5 submission wins, 2 knockout wins. Never been finished in his career. I think time for that's going to change. Rodolfo Vieira's grappling is on another level. He's completely out of this world when it comes to grappling. And Dustin Stoltzfus, although looks like a predominantly better grappler, a little bit taller, a little bit more reach, I think he's going to fall victim to that great Brazilian jiu-jitsu that we've seen in his first 2 fights. So Rodolfo Vieira is my pick there. Jeremy Stephens versus Matus Gamrot. And it's a good fight of somewhat similar of a Conor McGregor situation. Conor McGregor has, he's beat the who's who's, and then he's kind of went on a tumbling where he's losing to the who's who's, and now it's kind of like, do we start giving him up-and-comers, new guys, which would be the most optical situation for Conor McGregor would be to, all right, take a step back. Let me stop fighting Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, and let me go to start fighting these up-and-coming guys, work my way back up, work my name back up with wins rather than just talking, which is what Jeremy Stephens aims to do here as he fights Matsu Gamrot. Gamrot's 18-1. Stephens is 28-18-1. So Stephens has 28 more professional fights than Matsu Gamrot. Gamrot's 1-1 in the UFC, split decision loss in his debut to Garam Kudalatse. He won his last fight, though, by TKO against Scott Holtzman. 6 of his wins via knockout, 4 by submission. Excuse me. He's beat Norman Park twice, and he's also grappled with Gary Tonin. Although he lost that fight, just shows that his grappling is there. Obviously, his striking is there with the 2 wins over Park were wars. What's that promotion they fight in? KSW or some shit? KWS? Something like that in Russia. The guy's very well polished. He's going up against a power striker in Jeremy Stevens, 0-3-1 since 2019. He's got decision losses to Zabit, Magomed Sharapov, and Yair Rodriguez. And he's got a knockout loss to Kelvin Cater. 19 out of 28 of his wins via knockout. He's only been finished in 6 out of 18 of his losses, 3 knockout losses, 3 submission losses. So he's been knocked out in his career. He's been submitted in his career. Jeremy Stevens is not the greatest jiu-jitsu fighter. He does have decent wrestling, and he is a great striker, great power striker. Gamrot, though, is a very, very well-rounded fighter. He's got grappling, he's got power striking, he's got technical striking, he's got counter striking. I think this is going to be pretty easy going to Matsu Gamrot. And, you know, it sucks. You hate to see guys like Jeremy Stevens out of the UFC, but it might be his time. It might be, you know, if he loses this 0-4-1 in his last 6 or 5, 0-4-1, 5. It's just that might be time to call it, man. You're losing 2 top guys. You're losing up-and-coming guys. Might be time to look to, Bellator or even one. You know, Eddie Alvarez, Demetrius Johnson doing pretty good at one. Eddie Alvarez having a little bit of a rocky start. But those are guys that were, you know, top-level fighters in the UFC. And, you know, Dusty DJ really wasn't his time. But Eddie Alvarez kind of, you know, was getting older, and he lost to McGregor, and it was more his time to go to another promotion. Same as it might be for Jeremy Stevens. I'm going to go Gamrot. Alicia Tate, also another one making their return, Marion Renew. Alicia Tate is 18-7, 7 submission wins, 3 submission losses. It's on a 2-fight losing streak, although both of those fights were in 2016, 5 years ago. She lost decisions to Raquel Pennington and then a submission loss to Amanda Nunes in her last 2. Like I said, it's a return after a 5-year layoff. She's only 34 years old. I mean, she stopped fighting at 29. She's fighting Marion Renew, who's 44 years old. So it's hard to believe somebody who just took 5 years off of fighting is 10 years younger than her opponent. But Marion Renew, 44 years old, currently on a 4-fight losing streak. She lost to Kat Zingano, Yana Kunitskaya, Raquel Pennington, and then Macy Chasson, which was her last fight, March 2021. She's even fought as late as or early as this year. I don't know how you want to late or early, however you want to word that. But this year she fought, and Alicia Tate hasn't fought since 2016. So Alicia Tate's coming in at -140. I don't understand that. You know, I get how you would look at these two matched up in 2016, but being 5 years out of the fight game is no good. I understand she was having a kid. It wasn't necessarily just injuries or other things keeping her out of the fight game. But needless to say, she was out for 5 years. And Marion Renew was not. She was fighting. Whether she was losing 4 straight or not, she was still fighting. I think her last win was still like 2 years after Alicia Tate's last fight. So, you know, she's had two handfuls of fights since Alicia Tate's even fought inside of an octagon. So just off that strength, no skills up against each other, no height, no reach, none of that shit. I'm going to go Marion Renew there. Which brings us to the main event, Islam Makhachev versus Thiago Moises. I think was kind of a step down for Makhachev. Kind of, you know, he was kind of working himself up against Drew Dober. He beat Drew Dober, and then you would think they would give him a really big fight. And a main event, huge fight. I get it. You know, you're going to put him in a main event slot. Moises, I would think that they would have put him against somebody more suitable for his talents, I would say. Makhachev 19-1, 7-1 in the UFC. His only loss was a knockout to Adriano Martins. Martins is a fire. Fuck out of here. Damn it, man. Shook up my damn drink because of this motherfucker. He's going to jump out any minute. But, Lose my spot and all that shit. Matus is a black belt in jiu-jitsu and a brown belt in judo. That's key because Makhachev has a really dominant sambo style, similar to Khabib Nurmagomedov. So, everybody says what's a good kryptonite to a wrestler or to a good jiu-jitsu player is a good wrestler. So a lot of people think, why couldn't Islam's wrestling or grappling or sambo, whatever you want to call it, neutralize Adriano Martins or Martez? And it's because of his judo background as well. He's a very good judo player, which means that he is good at not only takedowns and takedown defense, but also throws from the clinch, which is a lot of what Islam Makhachev and Khabib Nurmagomedov do. Moises is also a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but he does not have the judo credentials that Martins does, which could play a detriment to his fight here. He's 15-4, never been finished in his career, 4-2 in the UFC. His only losses are Benil Dariush, great wrestler, and Daimir Ismagulov, great wrestlers. Wins over Alexander Hernandez, great wrestler. Bobby Green, and Michael Johnson, also a pretty decent wrestler. So it's kind of back and forth. You kind of get mixed back and forth with what you want to see here. But, I've always smacked myself in the head after fights thinking like, I picked this guy because he was so good off his back. He's a really good submission artist off his back. He's good at triangle chokes. He's good at omoplatas. He's good at Kimuras off his back, shit like that. So my mind goes to, if he gets taken down by the dominant wrestler, he should be able to create space and submit. But 9 times out of 10, it's not the case. Guys with the dominant sambo, like Khabib and like Islam, they don't allow space in between their top pressure. Their top pressure is way too heavy and keeps mounted so close to the body that there's no room to get in triangle chokes or rubber guard or things like that these jiu-jitsu black belts want to do. So that's why I think Islam Makhachev takes that one pretty easily. Maybe a decision, maybe even a TKO if he can get him in the right position on the ground. But either way, I got Islam Makhachev there. Rest of the card plays out. Daniel Rodriguez, his opponent fell out, so he is now fighting Preston Parsons. Amanda Lemos is fighting Moserrat Ruiz. Khalid Taha will be fighting Sergey Morozov. Miles Johns is going against Anderson Dos Santos. Francisco Figueiredo will be fighting Malcolm Gordon. Alan Barot will be taking on Rodrigo Nascimento. And then Phil Hawes was supposed to fight De'Aaron Wynn, but De'Aaron Wynn had a rib injury, so he fell out. They're looking to still keep him on the card per the UFC, but, it's Tuesday. Normally they wouldn't really add anything past Tuesday, maybe Wednesday at the latest. So, I would be looking out for some news for Phil Hawes maybe tomorrow. But after tomorrow, I would think they would start giving up and try to rebook his fight with Wynn down the line, or maybe rebook him with somebody else for next week, the week after, something like that, close turnaround. But I'd say after tomorrow, maybe Thursday at the latest, that fight is, or him being on the card is probably going to be no more. Like I said in the beginning of this, man, I had an interview with Dre Miley. I hope you guys all check it out. Talked about a lot of different shit, from fighting with one eye to being a family man while fighting, cannabis and MMA. We even talked a little bit about 15th century Japanese samurais. He told me a story on there. So go check it out, the video right before this one. Until next time, stay barbecued, and we will see you next Tuesday.